Hello, my name's Tony and welcome back to Fragdicted. In today's episode I'm going to be talking about a fragrance I've been sent from Primera Perfumes and it is called London Intense. Stay right where you are. So the company reached out to me on Instagram. They're based in Kuwait. When they said they'd like to send me a couple of different fragrances, I didn't really know much about them. I gave them a follow. I hadn't really heard a lot. So I thought, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. I gave my address. Very quickly, I'd say within a week, I received a lovely box, a big box, all the way from Kuwait. And there were 3 boxes that looked just like this. And I received London Intense, Prestige and Verona. Let's get into the box and show you the presentation. So it's a black box with silver writing and white London embossed, and it's slightly embossed from the box. When we get into the box, we get a black velvet bag, and then inside that bag we get a matte black finish bottle. And I'll tell you what, they do photo very well. Let's go through the notes with you while I show you the presentation. So in the top we have lavender, sweet mandarin, fig milk and spices. And in the mid we have oud, saffron, caramel, tonka and tobacco. And in the base we have patchouli, musk, sandalwood and vanilla. So as you can see, quite a lot going on. Does the fragrance match that? Let me just give this a quick spray in the air. Now I wore this as my scent of the day yesterday and it is a very complex fragrance. It's very hard to pick out the individual notes. It's very strong, it's very masculine and it's very Eastern. You get an extremely concentrated, sweet, oudy, leathery opening. It's also quite fruity and spicy, and there's a slight sort of cloying sweetness and animalic note too. I find it quite woody and creamy. This is a fragrance of almost 2 stories. It doesn't go through many changes. When you first spray it, that pretty much stays how it is, but then eventually the vanilla starts to creep through the powderiness, and then that's when I start to enjoy it. This is a little bit too loud and too animalic for me. I wouldn't say it's a dark fragrance though, it's quite bright. It certainly projects and performs incredibly well. I got a whole working day out of this easily, and that is 10 hours plus. No problem at all for the performance on these fragrances. It also, although it sits quite heavy on the skin, it feels like quite a heavy fragrance, it also projects quite well. So it becomes quite powdery quite quick. The spices are always there. This sort of almost cloying sweetness is always there. And then you get this slight animalic darkness from the leather and the oud. But the bit I love is as it dries down, you get this creamy, sandalwoody vanilla that comes through. And that, on my skin, I just love it. It really does come into its own well into the wearing, and we're talking 5-6 hours in. So I'm really impressed with what I've smelt so far from Primera. Please watch out for future reviews on the other 2 I've received, which are Prestige and Verona. So if you're into niche fragrances, and what I mean by that, into the deeper, darker stuff, you're well into your fragrance journey and you're trying to find things that are a little bit different, this I think is definitely worth you trying. If you are quite new to fragrance, or you like designer fragrances that are mass appealing, this might not be for you. I was split pretty much 50-50. I wasn't that keen on the opening, but it doesn't mean it's not good quality. But I actually really enjoyed the dry down. I hope you enjoyed my take on London by Primera Perfumes. I'm certainly impressed with the quality. Looking forward to reviewing those other 2 I mentioned. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button. That'd be great if you could do that. Don't forget to subscribe, all your usual stuff. And one last thing, don't forget to keep smelling wonderful.